Nepal's Gen Z protests look like a fresh wave of student activism in a young generation rising against corruption and demanding accountability, but scratch the surface and the movement looks less like a revolution and more like a regime change script. India faces a peculiar challenge at home. Its own opposition leaders, especially Rahul Gandhi, upon echoing foreign talking points, knowingly or unknowingly amplify narratives that undermine India's standing. That is the important point. And in the eyes of deep state, such voices are convenient tools to attack India. Namaskar friends, I welcome you all to the digital media of Uday India and myself Deepak Kumar Rath. In India Things, today I want to speak to you that South Asia, you all know that it has been described as one of the world's most complex geopolitical theaters. In recent years, this complexity has turned into turbulence with protests erupting earlier in Sri Lanka, then Bangladesh, and now in Nepal. The branding of these uprisings, whether student protest or Generation Z movement, may sound organic and democratic, but the reality is far murkier. Behind the slogans and social media campaigns lies a pattern. You must mark this. You can observe a deliberate attempt by vested interests and deep state actors to destabilize India's neighborhood and redraw the regional balance of power. The so-called Arab Spring 2.0 template is feasible. First, popular discontent is amplified through online narratives, making protests look larger than life. Second is, economic grievances are exploited to turn anger into regime change calls. Third, international media jumps in, presenting these movements as heroic struggles against the tyranny. And finally, foreign funding and advisory networks quietly prop up leaders who align with the external interests. This has been tried in Sri Lanka during its economic collapse, in Bangladesh under the grave of student unrest, and now in Nepal with the sudden Generation Z mobilization. By all appearances, Nepal's Gen Z protests look like a fresh wave of student activism in a young generation rising against corruption and demanding accountability, but scratch the surface and the movement looks less like a revolution and more like a regime change script being played out in Kathmandu. The irony is hard to miss. Sudhan Gurung, the face of this protest, claims to be fighting for a corruption-free Nepal. Yet, the money fueling his group Hami Nepal comes from some of the most tainted figures imaginable. Among them, weapons dealer Deepak Bhatta, COVID profiteer Sahil Agrawal, and celebrated surgeon Dr. Manduk Ruit. Those Raman Magsaysay award ties him to Western intelligence-backed institutions. Fighting corruption with corrupt money, that's not reform, that's the theater. The question is, who is getting benefits? The answer points squarely to global power struggles. The United States, wary of losing its influence in Asia and has often used democracy promotion as a tool for intervention. China, equally ambitious, seeks to expand its footprint through Belt and Road projects and strategic investments. Both powers are vying for control of choke points, trade routes, and governments in South Asia. The chaos serves them well. It weakens local states, makes them dependent, and creates entry points for strategic dominance. In this theater of manipulation, India starts as the outlier. Despite numerous attempts to trigger unrest, be it through misinformation campaigns, separate narratives, or externally funded NGOs, India has remained resilient. its democratic institutions, while imperfect, are robust enough to absorb shocks without collapsing into chaos. For Washington and Beijing alike, this resilience is frustrating. India's refusal to bend to foreign diktats and its insistence on charting its own path makes it only true stabilizer in South Asia. But this stability cannot be taken for granted. The deep state thrives on exploiting fault lines, religious divides, economic hardships, and youth disillusionment. Social media warfare has become its sharpest weapon, where hashtags become ammunition and narratives replace the facts. Unless India and its neighbors remain alert, these psychological and political operations will continue to undermine regional peace. What is striking is that the playbook is no longer confined to South Asia. Malaysia too is increasingly being targeted through protests and foreign narratives that seek to exploit domestic divisions and weaken its sovereignty. These moves are part of the same geopolitical chess game. At the same time, India faces a peculiar challenge at home. Its own opposition leaders, especially Rahul Gandhi, upon echoing foreign talking points, knowingly or unknowingly amplify narratives that undermine India's standing. That is the important point. And in the eyes of deep state, such voices are convenient tools to attack India from within while external pressure mounts from outside. South Asia doesn't need regime change experiments, it needs genuine development, stronger democratic institutions, and cooperation among neighbors. India, as the regional largest democracy and economic engine, must continue to anchor this stability while exposing the sinister designs of external forces. The message must be clear: South Asia is not a chessboard for great powers, it is a home to sovereign nations whose people deserve stability, not engineered chaos. That's all for today. Stay tuned with Uday India and subscribe to Uday India. Thank you.